Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's Chess Show on Po TV. My name is Sasha Star, and today's guests we have two professors. Ken Regan, welcome to the show.
Yes, thank you very much for having me on again.
Okay, and Dan Fleetwood, welcome to the show, Dan.
Hi, Sasha. Hi, Ken. Happy to be here.
Okay, so we just had finish of Warsaw, the Rapid and Blitz tournament, and the hero was Neiman, as
Yeah.
we will know by now. And now we had just started the classical tournament in Bucharest, Romania. And
There's
it
one
just
highly enter.
yeah, it just started, and the beginning was not very excited because all five games were drawn, and it seems to be kind of a strange feeling that these players are almost as good as a candidates tournament, but it's a very different feel when in candidates each move was so important, each game was so important in overall standing and the leaders' advance. And in this tournament, it feels that, yeah, they all want to play well, and but the level of excitement is completely different. What do you think?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're probably right. Also, the fact that the candidates is double rounds and this is just a single round.
Yes, that makes a big difference too. Agree. Agree.
But there is actually a highly entertaining game going on right now. It may be about to end in perpetual check. So I'll actually show that first before getting into Neiman's wins. So this is a clash today between the candidate, Javikir Sindarov, and Pragnananda, who may thought would be in the candidates again. But anyway, so king pawn opening, but a bit more enterprisingly down the kind of Gioco Piano main lines here. I assume you're seeing the chessboard?
Yes.
Yes, all good.
Yeah. So I don't know, Dan, maybe you know something. I should read books from 100 years ago and maybe learn something about White's next move. So rather than the classic knight c3, White plays knight d2, a different way to gambit a pawn.
Yeah, no one would have played this in the 19th century. So
okay, White. So I guess the idea is that White doesn't have to give up two pawns or whatever. It's just different lines. So White is
the Molar attack was analyzed to death like 100 years ago. So something different.
Yeah, so maybe you could call this the bicuspid attack or something. So, and White castles queenside, which is pretty wild of itself. But White's plan is to storm the kingside with pawns and use the central space advantage. So now here we go, storming the kingside with the pawn, and restricting Black's pieces. Although, so h6, Black does not want to be weak on the dark squares after White plays h6. And now White is preparing the g4 thrust, which is the drawback to h6, as it makes g5 into a lever. But Black is able to obstruct that. Now, I don't know how much of this is theory. The computer says the best move is rook h4 and just, now piling heavy pieces on the king side and removing the obstacle and then advancing your pawn with g4, g5 later. But
what about queen f4?
Queen f4 is also probably it may very well transpose because this move, then the computer wants White to play h4.
Sure.
Okay.
White definitely has compensation for the pawn here. So anyway, knight h4, never mind. It's a stupid question mark. It doesn't really give away too much. And Black's natural queen d7 is also queried. And here, White can, and I'm surprised that White didn't, White can gain bishop against knight in a position with attacking chances with f3.
Natural.
Sure, but White chose to try to gin up the battery on the b1 in h7 diagonal, of course, black can cover d3. And now, okay, now black is up 2 pawns, but white has some of what white wants. And now it's also interesting, not capturing on g6, but instead playing knight f5. Captures will open the g file for white. So black pins white's bishop and prepares in many lines to trade off the queens with queen e3. So that explains Sindarov taking a timeout for king b1, unpinning the bishop and getting rid of the menace of queen e3.
Wow.
But it does give black another pawn. So now white throws a knight on the fire.
I'm thinking that that after Kasparov compared Sindarov to Spassky, Sindarov is thinking I'd rather be Tal.
That could be. Spassky made some enterprising sacrifices.
Oh, he did.
But you're right. This is so. This is Tal. Either it's Tal, or maybe you can calculate this out to perpetual check. Who knows? So.
Okay, it all depends on the result. If he wins, he is Tal, he is Spassky, he is anybody. If he's losing, it's coffee house chess.
Yeah. So nice little point here is that by playing rook c1 first, white prevents black's queen from getting onto the long dark diagonal, which otherwise the d4 square would have been available. Now you take on h6 and black's queen is offside. But you know, it can get that far. It just can't. So it gets onto the diagonal, but white's maybe up a tempo compared to other positions. So king f8 just captures. And now maybe black can keep an advantage with queen f6, but rook e2 is queried by the machine. And this is the state in which I saw the game. And well, okay, so black is still thinking. So Praggnanandh has been thinking for a while. I was thinking this is likely to become perpetual check if black plays king f8.
Yeah, good chances.
No, and I think even if, so it's king d8, queen g8 check, rook e8, queen g5 check, knight e7. So it's a question actually of, so the other thing is that white suddenly has pawns for the piece. I mean, actually not. It's even material, but white has some real pawns on the king side. And so it's a question of whether black wants to try to, oops, I put the wrong rook on e1. What do you know?
Yeah.
Rook c1. Okay, the right rook is important here. Yeah, obviously you want to threaten rook h7. So what's going on here? I don't know. This is an unclear sign, I think. Well, the computer shows white winning the piece back and trading queens and getting into a very unbalanced rook ending, and probably showing triple zeros.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, but all three outcomes are possible.
Yes,
all three outcomes indeed are possible. So let's just look at the other board. So it's actually no. Now the game has gone back to where black played king f8. So this is probably therefore going to be draw by perpetual check. So we may get 5 draws again because the other games are also close to equal. Actually, Firouzja against Vachier-Lagrave also looks like it has been a wild game. But that one's not as close to resolving, so I'll skip it instead. Let's get to our hero of the hour, and that hero is Hans Niemann winning the Super Rapid and Blitz. I guess it's not Super Bet anymore. Super Rapid and Blitz, the first event of the Grand Chess Tour, which always culminates in St. Louis. And this is the first marquee event win for Niemann. He was in a field, include a lot of top players, including Gukesh. And Niemann won the Rapid fairly convincingly and was running away with the Blitz, then lost 3 games in a row and prevailed in a tight finale where with 3 rounds to go, it was already clear that the 3 Americans were going to finish 1-2-3. And they all won their last round, but Niemann stayed a half point ahead. So we're going to see how Niemann put together his wins And the answer is he excelled in the endgames.
Hmm.
So this is the only game that's going to feature a bishop in the endgame. The rest is all done with rooks and knights. Okay, so Gioco Piano to be. And now this is wait a second. This is the rapid section, or no, I guess I'm wrong. I guess I'm remembering wrong. This is part of the blitz. So the blitz is played with 5 minutes up front and a 2-second increment, giving 7 minutes instead of 5 minutes to turn 60. So it's slightly slower pace of blitz. The rapid is 10 minutes slower. It's 25 minutes up front with a 10-second increment rather than 15 minutes up front like at the World Rapid. So maneuvering chess and so the knights are both achieve their objective of getting to the respectively f5 and f4 squares. The bishops are similarly arrayed, but white has more space in the center. So it has to go as advantage white, and black resolves the tension too quickly. And this leads to a position in which white wins a pawn. And it's just very nice how Niemann converts his advantage from here on. Some sparkling play. Actually, black overextends and white comes away with another pawn. So now white really is up an unobstructed pawn on the queen side. And normally I would just stop the game here because it's clearly white is going to win. But the ending flourish is fairly nice in this game. So this was against Maxime Vachier-Lagrave. Okay, so white activates the rook, and now the white's double pawns are useful to deny squares to black's pieces, and so now white plays a few nice moves in a row. F6, making square on F5 for the bishop, and that restricts black's knight to go here. And now white recaptures the pawn, and then after this move, black's knight is dominated, and black is losing material in lots of places. So
that's amazingly good technique for blitz.
Very
I mean, even from a top player, that was exceedingly well done.
Yeah. So nice technique, and we're going to see more of it in these other games. Oops. Okay. So let's see. So this is the rapid game. So this is Niemann winning as black against rapid. I intended to start with this game, so this is against Ali Reza Firouzja, who is, by the way, in something of a pickle because he lives in France, represents France, but he's not being allowed onto the French Olympic team because he hasn't come to any of the preliminaries or team sessions. So anyway, symmetrical position. But now white has the isolated pawn, so Niemann's going, of course, play against the isolated pawn. And I'm a little surprised that black has time for g6, but I guess so. It's something you want to do if you're not going to get blitzed by white getting the d5 move in. Okay, so I guess, obviously you have to have analyzed this thoroughly. Niemann has not used much time at this point. So, okay, so white overloads, but black is able to resolve the tension, and white is still not in a position to play d5, which is usually how you dissolve, and white's not ahead in development either so much because white hasn't castled yet. So now bishop e4 to restrict black and take some agency over d5, but d5 doesn't bring white anything. I mean, d5 brings white equality in this position. Let me just make sure nothing's hanging. Actually, black just plays rook d8 on the d file, and white hasn't achieved anything. So anyway, queen d2, rook c1. Normal play, and you'd expect this game to end in a draw, even though white has a slight structural weakness. But white has to do something, either play b4, or get in d5, or establish a knight on e5, which is what white tries to do. But Um, okay. Okay, so now the game is again dynamically even. Now black has a weakness too, and the two weaknesses are probably going to be traded off. This will give white a queenside majority, but in a heavy piece end game, it's hard to advance it. It's not like if white had a light squared bishop against a black knight, then this might be close to winning. But black is fine. The amazing thing though is how Niemann drums up winning chances in this position. Okay, well, put a rook on the 7th rank. Something might happen. Rook is behind white's pawns. All right, white puts a rook on the 7th rank. Oh, Niemann decides to not care about white's threat to play rook takes e6. So, all right, yum. I got the rook on e6 here. Okay, rook c7 now. So let's see. So is black's counterattack really all that important? Let's see. What happens if white chomps a pawn? Well, the answer is no. This really is.
Whoops.
Yes. So the computer can see this h pawn on h4
that's a killer.
is a killer. It hems in white's king, and white can't organize. I can't even organize an attack against f7. Okay, so white's not going to chomp another pawn. White keeps the rook on e4 on the e file for invigilation. So okay, all right, black, you're down a pawn. What are you going to do? All right, let's guard the h pawn, obviously. Now, maybe white's rook on g4 is feeling the heat a little bit and decides to get out of the kitchen. White could have interposed rook at c6 check first. Okay, let's make a caveman mate threat. So white has to make more luft for the king. And okay, so now black has won back the pawn and still has the initiative. And the way this ends is, it ends with a mistake by white, but, if you play hockey in the offensive zone.
Oh, holy cow.
Yeah. Well, white has to guard the G pawn.
Right.
But now you've got a problem with that rook
This
on
is
G4.
trouble.
Yeah, you've stuck your head in the lion's mouth again. So you have to play very accurately. Well, okay. So very accurately means putting the rook on C8 so you can evict black's king if need be.
Yeah.
But here is where Firouzja decides, it's still with over a minute left, that, okay, I can safely chomp a pawn. Well, not chomping safely. Here comes attack against white's king. And so if white moves the rook away, then it's Space Invaders time. Black's pawn moves much faster than white's. So white may have relied upon this tactic to at least trade off a pair of rooks, but it's still Space Invaders time. And actually, Rasher Lagrave gave up because you can count to 3, F3, F2, F1 queen coming soon to a theater near you.
That's brutal.
In fact, black having a G pawn blocks the checks that white would normally use to defend.
Amazing.
So nice way to take advantage of opportunities. So that was in the rapid section. I showed one game from the blitz section. Now let's see Niemann defeating Caruana. Okay, so someone said on Twitter yesterday that Caruana is the most stable of the elite chess players. Okay, rock solid. And as I said, even if Caruana bounced back from this loss with a winning streak and almost caught Niemann at the end. But so Caruana plays the Sicilian. I don't want to play Gioco Piano. I want to win. So Najdorf, here we come. Okay, so I'm sure this is a main line.
Yep.
I haven't taken time.
Yep. This gets played all the time in correspondence chess.
And what's the character? Does white advance?
The character is to get a long maneuvering game. Avoid like the super tactical lines that go quickly into a draw, and try to get a position where the computer can't quite see what's coming. These days, that's harder and harder. But especially about 10 years ago or so, these positions were quite popular, just because you would have long horizons before a resolution. So.
Yeah, it's very.
This is a position that's pleasant to play from either side.
Okay, I imagine black is going to try to get the f5 move in.
Yeah.
But let's see how that unfolds. Okay, rook c8. These are all natural moves. White's advancing on the queen side. The knight on b3 has to relocate. So that's so it does. Okay, let's see. Optically, maybe I prefer to play black here. I don't know. It depends on whether the knight on c5 can stay there. Okay, so black makes a weakness in order to keep the knight on c5 there. Now black has 2 knights on c5.
Well, like I say, I'm happy on either side of this board. So
okay,
I'm sure that'll change as the game progresses.
Yeah, white does have f4 in these positions, and that might blunt some of black's activity. But instead, white actually amplified black's activity with f5. Not sure. The idea was to exchange one of these stalwart knights, and white's knight is hoping to exploit some light square weaknesses. But here comes f5. So, okay. So anyway, so black can now I can see optically black is completely happy. White's knight is on b1. Black's knight is on a very good square, and black has center control. But, we keep playing chess, and now here come the rook and knights that I talked about. So white does get a nicer knight now. Black gets, however, a solid defense. So black's knight comes in. Okay, so black is the one advancing here. It's very hard for white to get the queenside majority moving. So the computer accurately sees black as having half a pawn advantage, and now line up behind an open file, and now white actually gets into a spot of bother. But at least white is threatening in some positions to get the queenside pawns moving. And here they come. So now white's okay. So maybe white's optically a little better than was a while ago. And now, yes, so it's not obviously the pawn is pinned. It's trying to come around behind black's pawn. And but sort of, I might be sometime write an article on very defensive looking rook moves, like rook b1 instead of b3 to defend an attacked b pawn. I'd use that in some of my games 40 years ago to great advantage. So Caruana simply defends his pawn and he keeps the initiative. Now the other rook comes down and white has to fall back on defense. Okay, so thus far, very well done by Caruana, and this should be something now black can start thinking about putting more pressure on and converting, but Niemann plays very resourcefully here. And first of all, it's black's misfortune that the most obvious attacking move is tactically not good, because it gives white an opening to now play knight c8 check and threaten d6. So black realizes, oops, I have to admit my mistake. Niemann is not going to repeat. Instead, here comes white's king. And now Caruana tries to force white to repeat, but now you see black really has taken 1 step forward and 2 steps backward. And so here comes Niemann's king. Okay, we attack pawns, and now the rook is able to come the other way. But white's king is snug as a bug in the rug, and white can now take over the initiative. And, well, I don't know, is the h-pawn going to become a queen? Well, we got to just calculate here, I guess. Okay, so go after your knight. Now going after your king a little, and threatening to win the knight. And this is where Caruana makes a mistake, but he's already behind. So knight g6 check and king g5, and you've got to commit to a position where there's going to be a pawn race, and who knows how it's going to calculate out. But king g6, however, so there's a very nice fact at the end of this game. So where this sprung a leak is in forks. So now watch the forks in the last stages of this game. So first of all, if black plays knight h7, then rook g7, rook takes h7 check, and knight g5, forking the king and the rook.
Yeah.
If you take on e6, the white's d becoming e-pawn suddenly makes a queen. So anyway, so e4. So okay, we lost the knight. Now, Here comes F5, C5. So we are in full-blown boat race mode here. Okay. Okay. And now the very nifty conclusion of the game. Okay, so D7, King F4, Knight F7, E3. Okay, now we capture, and White's pieces are there in time. So the final indignity is that White has a fork on D3.
Oh,
Yeah. So
Oops.
Black is not able to do it, and Neiman won. Okay, we're gonna last game that I have. We're gonna see more dancing knights and rooks and forks. So a very nice game, and Neiman actually had a lot of time at the end. So okay, so this is the thing you've all been waiting for. How he defeated Gukesh with the black pieces. Oh, this is again the rapid. Okay, I think I meant to start it from the other end of my games. Okay, so Neiman black against Gukesh, and okay, so again, Dan, you're welcome to comment on the opening if you know.
I know this opening by heart. I've played this many times in both the 33rd and 34th World Correspondence Championships.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It's certainly very solid for black.
I like it from both sides.
Okay.
Not so much with the A5 move, but I Neiman is trying to mix it up here, so good for him.
Yeah. So it goes. So black is definitely trying for activity. Black is not afraid of opening up the H1 to A8 diagonal for White's Catalan bishop, I guess you could still call it in this position. So now we really mix it up. The pawn position in the center has become very interesting. And this is a nice little tactic. If White captures on D3, then Black can capture on D5 with the knight. But okay, so now White doesn't recapture right away. Instead, now White's threatening Knight C6, winning a piece. So Black has to oppose on the file.
This is a kind of mess.
Yeah. So here's something funny. Knight F5 is the computer's best move. And after White plays it, the softchess.com software gives a question mark. Well, this sort of thing sometimes happens with hash table phenomena,
yes,
which I could talk about and some other ideas. By the way, the study of anomalies in chess program hash tables could be the only path to a Nobel Prize that I could ever think about, because I have an article on the Gödel's Lost Letter blog titled Digital Butterflies and PRGs, about how the use of hash tables in chess programs could provide an exponential time test for pseudo-randomness. Exponential time, but concretely realizable, thus not upsetting any shibboleths in complexity theory, but deployable to test pseudo-randomness of about 50,000 bits that are used to initialize a chess program's hash table. Huh. Okay, well, all right. The game is even, but weird position with both sides having pawns on D3, D6, respectively. Okay, so hard to tell really what's going on here. It's all cut and thrust, but. Okay, so yeah, here we go.
I think what's going on here is that Gukesh doesn't have much time.
Yeah, actually, you're right. That is the sage observation. And so I promised you rooks and knights. Here they are. So this is now, I mean, the computer says 0.02 edge to black, but in terms of real play, it's a little more sophisticated advantage to black. Black can undertake things. It's not clear what White can do, except play Knight C4, forking Black's pawns.
Yeah, 2 islands versus 3, advantage Black.
Yeah. So Black has the only open file at the moment. So we come in, but Gukesh doesn't play badly until the very end, and steps into some forks. Okay, so White maybe now has done the work of equalizing, because you see a path where White can dissolve the E3 pawn weakness now. Okay, so it's funny. Rook G4 So white says that white should jettison the pawn and get counterplay after driving black's rook off the g file by playing king e2, f2. So,
Wow.
but g4 is such a natural move, but black wins a pawn anyway, although taking with the rook was apparently better. Okay, so white gets the hoped for counterplay. So now the game has actually become very exciting. It's a potential queening race on both sides. White has to play b4 to get that rolling. So black is certainly ahead at this moment. But that's not how the game is going to resolve. Instead, the game is going to resolve because white seems to have black's h-pawn under lock and key. But in a few moves, that's not going to be true anymore. Okay, so here we go. Here's the key moment in the game, white to move and lose.
Rook takes a5.
Rook takes a5. Okay, well, rook takes a5. You might call that just careless, like in one of the other games that I showed.
You ask white to move and lose. So I was
Yes,
trying to find.
it's not white to move and lose. Yeah. You think
That's
that.
why I was
White actually can't take.
Yeah, that might actually not lose though.
Yeah. So, but now I've exposed the rest of the game. Okay. So white to move and lose in one move. You might think it's the most natural move on the board, stopping black's kingside counterplay while a5 is still there for the taking.
Knight h3.
No,
That would
okay,
lose.
piece. No. So white to move
I mean,
and
that's
lose.
too obvious.
Yeah. White to move and lose is king e4.
Oh, I didn't think that was going to be it.
Oh, h3 now.
h3.
Oh, yeah.
Then
Oh,
four.
and white captures on h3. So this is
Yeah,
where
I actually
capture-
thought king e4 was okay, so I would have fallen for the same thing.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes. So if white plays knight takes h3, then rook takes, or even just knight f2
Ah.
right away. Yeah. So anyway, so rooks and forks. Yeah. So white played king f5, and then after h2, suddenly the pawn's a monster, and it's going to claim white's rook, not just that. So if white captures on g4, then it's hopeless because black has a pass pawn. So anyway, so one more move, and
well, impressive.
yeah, stay
Yeah,
more awake.
The position looked very innocent, but all of a sudden, in one move, exactly as you say, white starts and lose. Exactly what's happening. Yeah, I'm impressed that you never stop learning something new in chess. I have my grandson. All of a sudden, he got attracted to chess, and he's playing a lot of Blitz on chess.com and so on. And once he sent me a game that he won, it was two knights defense. And I asked him what line does he like in two knights defense. He says, well, my favorite line is Friedli Variation. And I never heard about this Friedli Variation. And he explained to me what it is. Apparently, knight g5 in a fourth move is the Friedli Variation. Have you heard about that?
With knight takes f7. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then he said that he's studying now Traxler's defense.
Yep.
Bishop c5.
Or bishop c5.
And then bishop take f2 if knight takes f7.
Mhm.
So there are a lot of interesting lines, actually. I'm surprised that they're almost forgotten.
Everything old is new again.
Yes. Okay.
I'm not sure
Variation.
Dan saw the thing which I count as learning something new about chess. There have been lots of articles on the body check theme. I showed this last week to Sasha. But here, black wins by playing
it's fantastic.
king d6 and then king c5. And the point is that black gains a tempo for the eventual race to trap black's knight on h1. So and if king b7, then knight b5, and again black gains a tempo after c8, just king d6.
The Reti study only with a lot more on the board.
Yeah,
it is the classic shouldering.
The classic shouldering. So instead,
That's right.
the game unfolded this way, and the point is that black can win white's bishop, but white had time. It was drawn here. White has time to come
Okay.
and win.
Oh, that
black's
was
knight.
pretty.
Yeah. So as I said, learn something new in chess every
Yeah.
day. That you can have a body check theme that's completely on the other side of the board from where the body check takes place, where the point is. So
Truly amazing. Thank you for
Yeah.
showing that. Thank you very much for
Okay.
today's program. And I guess we'll meet next week, same place, same time, and we'll see how this classical Bucharest tournament is progressing.
Yeah.
Hopefully, there will be some results in games by that time.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks a lot. Have a great
Thank
week.
you. Okay.
Bye bye, everybody.
Bye bye.
Bye, everyone.